So for this year, for 2026, I decided to delete 90% of my goals that I was planning to set and planning to accomplish. And I feel like that was the most successful thing that I've done because every year previously, I would always put too many tasks. And then by the end of the year, I would realize I've only achieved maybe 5% of them, sometimes not even achieving one thing. And so what I realize is that most people fail their 2026 goals or their yearly goals, their yearly resolutions, not because they lack discipline, but because they have too many of them. Too many people sit and write down a full list of 50 things that they want to achieve. And then by the end of the year, they realize that they weren't able to make any progress because it was just too much all at once. I think of it just like weightlifting. You don't go in the gym and pick 100 different workouts and just assume that you're going to be able to hit it all because that's not the most effective way. So I started with a list of 50 things that I wanted to achieve. And I realized that I needed to cut about 40 of them. So I only really ended up with 10 of them because those 40, it was just noise. So I deleted them. And now I really only have like 10 goals that are really going to push the needle for this year. And I wanted to break down exactly why I'm doing that and also give you guys a little bit of insight about what my goals for 2026 are. For a little bit of information, I'm a sales rep. I'm 23. I've already crossed the 100K a year mark, and now I'm working to get to the 30K to a 50K per month mark. And I'm consistently working. I'm working about 60 to 80 hours, whether it's at my job or my side business. And that's all I really do. And I find enjoyment out of it. I have a loving fiance. I have a loving dog. And they both pushed me to become the most successful version of myself. And I wasn't always like this. I was someone that was strung by weed, someone that was strung by alcohol, strung by partying, doing bad choices. And I realized that those weren't pushing any of my goals. So I stopped every single one of that. And I want to explain today how I'm going to show you my 90-10 system, which it does involve a lot of things because usually it's work 90% of the time, enjoy 10% of the fun, or eat 90% of whole foods and then 10% of the whole 10% of foods you don't have to eat whole. But in this instance, I'm focusing on the 10% of goals that will create 90% of my life's progress. So we're going to break down goal setting, why it worked for me, how I'm actively going to go about it in 2026, and how you can implement it too. So what's the framework? What is this 90-10 system that I'm preaching? So most goals, they are ego goals, meaning they sound cool, but they don't actually move the needle. So many of the 40 goals that I ended up deleting, they didn't really move any needles. Like they sounded cool on paper, like get this in life, achieve this, have this, get more of this. But it wasn't really anything sustainable. And I realized like with a lot of my goals that I would set, if I set one foundation goal, I would be able to get rid of like 5 to 10 goals just because if I knew if I hit this, all those other goals will become, apparent. It would become achievable. So I can tell you right now, if you have 25 goals, you really have 0 and you're going to achieve 0. But if you have 10 goals, then you actually have a chance. And most likely, if you put in the work, you put in the hard consistency, you're going to achieve the goals that you set out for yourself. So I wanted to break down exactly how I was able to remove decision fatigue for this next year and then create diluted focus to make sure that throughout the entirety of 2026, I'm focused on where I want to be, the goals that I set for myself, but also enjoying the process along the way. Because I've heard from so many mentors I have in my life that you need to enjoy the journey. Because once the journey is over, you're going to realize that that was the fun part and the reward. It's really just, now you've already have the gratification. It's not really that fun anymore. It's like when you buy a car and then a month later, you're like, dude, it's just the car. But what was more important is the chase towards that car. So that's what I want to kind of preach in that lifestyle that I love to enjoy. So I want to first segment this over to my 10 goals that I set for myself. And I think there are a little bit more. So I can break down and show you exactly what I did and how I created my 2026 manifesto. So I'll see you once we're on that screen. All right. So hopefully you guys can see now. I've got all my editing software is good, is my 2026 manifestos. And how I really broke this down is This was first a messy, unprepared version of just like a large list. This is like my third copy of how I created it, and that's the way to go about it. On December 31st at New Year's, I ended up spending, about an hour, nothing crazy, but creating a manifesto of how I want to live and what do I want to achieve for 2026. So like, put it this way, I had 40 or 50 goals and I had to dilute all those. And so like one of my goals might have been, okay, I want to get a new apartment. I want to pay in life and get this reward. But I realized it was just a distraction. If I put like a money goal on here or I put a lifestyle goal on here, that other goal would come. So instead of having a long list of just distractions, I put a long list of needle movers, and that's what I wanted to break down. So if we kind of look through how I went about this is I first broke it down into individual and relationship goals and started with a theme. So for individual goals, I want growth, I want purpose, I want adventure, I want to be uncomfortable. That's the goal, that's the identity that I want to carry for 2026. And then for relationships, I want to be more focused on gratitude. I want to be more intentional. I want to be holiness with my relationship with my fiance and my relationship with everyone else in my life. And so what I did with this 2026 manifesto is I hang this above my vision board that I create every year. And if you've never done a vision board, it's kind of like having images around a board so that way you can visibly see the goals that you set for yourself. So, as I said, one of my goals was get a new apartment. But if I just wrote down, hey, my goal is my business makes 30K in one singular month, guess what? I'm going to get a new apartment. I'm going to get a new lifestyle. And the way that I go about this is that's how I drive everything. Like if I want to be more fit throughout the year, if I run my first marathon, that's going to completely, expand and get that goal, but put it more of a focus on my life. So I'm going to read through all of these, or at least a few of them, and then also show you, like, I effectively also want to approach this smartly. And so what I did is I wrote down a habit that I can do for each goal to make sure that I know exactly the needle movers or the steps that I need to do. So let's read the first couple. So my business makes 30K in one single month. The habit, learn to market effectively and fulfill on clients. As long as I'm able to do that, then guess what? My goal will be achieved. Reach 175 pounds while being the most nimble. The habit, stretching daily and increase in macro adherence. So as long as I adhere to my macros, increase the amount of macros I eat daily, and then also stretch daily, I will reach the goal without any hesitation. Number 3, run my first marathon. The habit, running 2 to 3 times per week and increasing the mileage, increasing the amount of times I spend running. I've only ran at the most 5 miles, and I'm setting a vicious goal of running my first marathon. So you should be able to understand the extremities that I'm able to do. And like for the monthly income, I've only ever made about 15K in one singular month, and now I'm saying I'm doubling that this year, 30K in a single month. But I know I can do it because I work hard, I set these goals accordingly, and that's how I'm able to reach these. For my relationship, I put be extremely close to God together. So the habit is going to be daily prayers and weekly learning blocks, learning about our religions, learning about how we can become better, and then focusing on praying daily. Another goal, travel to 6 different locations together. My fiance, she's from a different country, so I want to make sure that I'm experiencing all these different cultures because that is a part of life that so many people miss. So the habit is going to be high work output to gain more freedom. As long as I put in more work on my business, guess what? I'm going to be able to spend more time in the areas that I want to, which is traveling to different countries. Number 3, solve conflicts more effectively together. Every relationship has conflicts, and the goal should always be to solve them more effectively. So what is the habit going to be? Putting ourselves in the other shoes and caring. And guess what these 3 goals do? They trap out all the other goals that are very minuscule that I was thinking of and just puts them in 3 high altitude goals. This is how I was able to filter out my goals as long as I made sure that they were pushing my health, made sure they were pushing my business, made sure they were pushing my family. And if none of those were being pushed, then I ended up just leaving it and putting it gone. So now I'm going to transition back to the camera, and I'm going to break down the last couple segments of this video for you guys. But I hope that gave you a little bit of an idea of how to create your 2026 manifesto. And if you do need, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link below actually. And if you want to schedule a call with me, if you're interested on just hopping on a call with me, we could even do this, something small like creating a 2026 manifesto and making sure that you're able to adhere to it. But what I'm really capable of and what I'm really proficient at is upgrading lifestyles. I focus on a bunch of different clients ranging from people that just got out of college, people that are in sales jobs wanting to increase their revenue, mainly by focusing on lifestyle adherence, focusing on scheduling out your daily life, all through a dashboard that I created for myself. So I won't go too much into that, but if you want to learn how I upgrade my life through becoming no ambition inside my lifestyle, and then transferring that to daily destruction, so every day I know what I'm focused on, click the link below and you'll learn a little bit more about me. But I'll see you guys back on the camera. All right, so what I wanted to also do was connect this to bodybuilding, because I feel like this is just like weightlifting. Like when I go into the gym, I'm not choosing 100 different exercises in one workout. And so in life, I'm not going to be choosing 100 different life hacks, 100 different goals. I'm just going to be choosing a few. I'm going to be choosing a couple. I only master the big lifts when I go to the gym, and I only master the big needle movers when I'm focusing on my lifestyle and my life and my business and my relationship and the goals that I set for myself in 2026. I'm not just setting goals, but I'm selecting the 3 traits or the 10 traits that define who I want to be in 2026. I'm selecting the few that are going to push the needle, that are going to make me the person, because if I look at these 10 goals and I'm like, okay, if I achieve every single one of these, 1, I'm going to become a completely different man, but 2, I'm going to respect myself more, and 3, I'm going to be overall healthy and happy and fulfilled because I push towards these goals and I set them out for. Like 2025, I reached the goals that I set out for, but they were low bar goals. They weren't high. I'm taking a step up, and I'm shooting for the moon for 2026 because I know that I can upgrade my lifestyle every 6 months if I put the work, and it's all towards where I want and where I desire. So I want to ask you guys, look at your list if you have one, and find the couple things, or find the one thing that makes everything else feel unnecessary. If it makes it feel like, oh, this could be compounded into one big thing, then just write out that big thing. And then another benefit would be just writing down the first habit that comes to mind, that if you did this consistently for the next year or the next 6 months, you would be able to achieve this way before the end of 2026. And I guarantee you, you will find benefit in that. There's no way I wouldn't be able to reach these goals if I didn't set the habit so I can kind of see every single day what I need to do. And then also putting it somewhere that is visible. Like for me, it's right above my vision board, right on my door. So when I wake up every morning, I'm able to see that. And it's a reminder of what I am working for. So what I want to tell you guys is stop trying to win at everything and start winning at the things that matter. That's the goal for 2026. Stop winning at everything and only win at the things that matter. Hopefully you found some value in this. My name is Jonathan. If you can, drop a comment. Let me know what you found valuable. Leave a like or leave a follow just to show that this was actually beneficial for you guys. And hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.